Hello everybody, it's Josie here. I'm back with another kind of smash or trash book review. So the book I'm going to be talking about today is this one over here. It's called Other Words for Smoke by Sarah Marie Griffin, or Sarah, depending on how you say it. First of all, can we appreciate the beauty of the cover? So I know I say this a lot, but look at that cover. Isn't that gorgeous? So I'll hold it up really close so you can see you've got an owl kind of in the background there, and then this beautiful kind of rose gold, so I've, worn earrings to match, and kind of the pink on the cover, so, I thought I would, and then the gorgeous, I'm trash for a sprayed edge. I love a sprayed edge. So first of all, this is a really beautiful book just to look at. And then I read the synopsis and I was like, wow, this synopsis sounds really interesting. So you've basically got the story of May and Rosa. So they're brother and sister. So May and her younger brother, Rosa. And they are kind of shipped off one summer to go stay with their aunt because their parents, I think they're having a few marital issues and they want to go off on holiday by themselves. And they think it will be fun to send the kids off to their Aunt Rita, kind of in the wilderness, near the woods, for a lovely, peaceful summer. When they get there, they meet their Aunt Rita, and then she's very eccentric, and she has this eccentric cottage. And she also has a ward that's staying with her. And the ward's name is Bevan. And this girl is slightly older than they are. And she's quite standoffish, slightly mysterious. And May just instantly falls for Bevan. She has a massive crush on her. But Bevan, being older and apparently not that interested in her, doesn't really reciprocate this, but for that whole summer, May's got the biggest crush on her. But there's also this other element. So you've got this sort of setup for this really sweet, kind of pleasant story, but there's a lot more to it. So this is kind of this book, I'm still finding it, I've left this review for a while because I find it quite hard to describe it, but I'm going to try my best and also not give away the plot too much. So that all sounds very pleasant. The thing is, this book is kind of a horror thriller. So Rita and Bevan they're essentially witches. So when the kids get there, they talk about, so this happens right at the beginning, they talk about tarot readings. Rita gets tarot cards out. May's very interested in that. And then there's some very mysterious goings on. The owl is central. Bevan talks to an entity called Sweet James. There is, I don't want to spoil it. Okay. I'm not going to say anything because otherwise if I say something, it'll spoil something in the book that I really liked. It doesn't say it on the back, does it? No, it doesn't. So it just basically says that Bevan, she's kind of enthralled to this Sweet James entity. So it's a mysterious entity that actually, the reason this cover is sort of wallpaper, it emerges from the wallpaper in her bedroom. Again, this happens very early, tells you on the back, so that's all right. And so you find out that there is a lot more going on in this house than kind of meets the eye. And this book, I really loved it because it was so strange, but you've got, so it's kind of set in pieces. It's also set in different, you've got chapters from different perspectives. So you've got chapters where it's kind of Bevan's perspective, and then you've got chapters where it's May or Rosa's perspective. And you've got this kind of sort of sweet intensity of May's first love. Obviously, May's in love with Bevan, they're both girls, so there's a lovely, sweet, queer kind of romance. And then Bevan is not so sweet. And then you've got this kind of creepy entity in the house. And you've got Bevan and Aunt Rita, who are essentially witches. And they do sort of tarot and things. And you've got this kind of first half of the book where this is the first summer that Rosa and May spend with Rita and Bevan and what happens in that summer. And then you've got some time period in between. And you've got almost like tiny vignettes or short stories about bits in between. And then you've got, I think it's 4 years later, 3 or 4 years later, where they go again to stay, where their parents are having serious problems, and they go again to stay with their Aunt Rita and Bevan. And that really escalates, and they're a lot older, and then you kind of find out what happens to them both personally and with these entities in the house and this kind of dark otherworld. It is, like I said, it is so, I mean, I don't know, that description, it'll either intrigue you or you'll be like, that sounds like a mess. But I really enjoyed it. It was just so unlike anything I'd read before. And there were bits, there's tiny little, there's bits where you've got stars and you've got footnotes, and I found the footnotes odd and slightly confusing, I'll be honest. They weren't my favourite bit of the book, because there is also sort of a backstory with Rita and someone else, and kind of how Rita's come to live in the house, and where this entity, Sweet James, comes from. I would say that if you're somebody who wants to know how the magic system works, you want that all explained, you want the world explained, it's not going to do that for you. It focuses more kind of on the intensity, the relationship. I feel like it's almost like a psychological thriller, that coercion, manipulation. Yeah, it's a fascinatingly interesting, weird book. It is beautifully written. Sarah's writing is lovely. I really enjoyed it. But it's odd and atmospheric. I do think it would be a great Halloween book. So if you're looking for maybe a thriller slash horror type novel that also features queer content for Halloween, I would say this one is good. But I do, like I said, if you're somebody that wants everything explained and neatly wrapped up, it doesn't really do that. And especially the middle bits with those little vignettes, those little almost short stories about sort of what happened in the past and what's kind of going on and what's going on with this entity. It's never, nothing is hugely fully explained, but at the same time, I really enjoyed being in this world and kind of feeling this weird atmosphere. I really liked it. I could really picture it. I could picture this as a kind of a really cool kind of indie horror film almost. So I really enjoyed it. I'm sort of hesitating between 4.5 stars. I think I ended up, when I first finished reading it, because of some of the slightly weirder bits, I sort of went 4 stars. But it has kept me thinking about it, and it's one of those books that I read slower. So I naturally read pretty quickly. I've read all my life, so just naturally I read quite quickly. And I tend to get through, particularly things like thrillers, I get through them quite quickly because the language tends to be not so dense and they're easy to get through. But with this, probably because of the writing, the language, the way it was crafted, I really took my time reading this. It took me a while to actually finish it, but in a good way, because I kind of wanted to savor it. I didn't want to go through it at, I guess, my normal pace, kind of go through it quickly. And that doesn't happen too often with books. It's normally when the writing's really beautiful, the story's really intriguing, or it really kind of grips me and I almost want to slow down and really take it in, and the sort of atmosphere. So it's interesting. Like I said, I would absolutely recommend it, but if you're not good with things that are not wholly explained, you just, I feel like you kind of just have to go with it and enjoy the ride while you're there. And yeah, lovely little queer sort of romance going on. Not even, but yeah, sort of that first love element is really sweet as well. And yeah, it would make a great Halloween read, I think. So yeah, 4.5 stars. Really enjoyed it. Really recommend if any of that sounds interesting to you. And yeah, if you do read it, let me know what you think. Let me know how you felt about it. Let me know how you felt about the kind of the footnotes as well. I've discovered I'm not a footnote person. But yeah, let me know what you think. And yeah, I will speak to you all again very soon. Bye-bye.